And good evening, everyone. We're going to begin with the U.S. Supreme Court tonight, where earlier today justices overturned the nationwide ban on bump stocks. They're attachments that can make semi-automatic weapons fire at nearly the same speed as fully automatic machine guns. Tonight, we're going in depth on what this means specifically here in New York, which has its own ban on bump stocks. First, how we got here. On October 1st, 2017, a 64-year-old man in Las Vegas used bump stocks to fire more than 1,000 rounds into a crowd at a country music festival. He killed 60 people, injuring more than 400 others, in addition to hundreds of people who were hurt during the panic that followed. Well, the following February, less than a week after another mass shooting, this one at a Florida high school, former President Trump ordered his Justice Department to issue rules banning bump stocks, using existing law that already prohibited fully automatic weapons.
Just a few moments ago, I signed a memorandum directing the Attorney General to propose regulations to ban all devices that turn legal weapons into machine guns.
That ban went into effect on March 26th of 2019. Bump stock owners were required to destroy them or turn them into the federal government, or face up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Well, at the same time, the New York State Legislature was working on its own ban, and former Governor Andrew Cuomo signed that into law that summer in 2019. While New York's ban is still in effect, the nationwide prohibition has faced legal challenges. In late February of this year, the U.S. Supreme Court heard the case of a man from Texas who owns a gun store. He argued that the federal ATF went too far in the bump stock ban because a bump stock is not technically the same as a machine gun, he argued. Well, today, the Supreme Court agreed with him. Justice Clarence Thomas, writing for the 6-3 conservative majority, saying, quote, "We hold that a semi-automatic rifle equipped with a bump stock is not a machine gun because it cannot fire more than one shot by a single function of the trigger." Well, liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote a scathing dissent, saying that bump stocks cause weapons to act just like machine guns. She said, quote, "Today's decision to reject that ordinary understanding will have deadly consequences." While nothing technically changes here in New York, only 15 states have bump stock bans, including us. And a criminal could easily cross into Pennsylvania or any other state in white and legally purchase that accessory. 7 News anchor Leah Lando now with some perspective on today's high court ruling from someone directly involved in seeking justice from another mass shooting, this one in Buffalo.
Here in Buffalo, the top mass shooter did not use a bump stock, but he did use an accessory that perhaps made it more deadly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Attorney Kristen Elmore Garcia is representing some of the families of the victims of the top mass shooting in Buffalo. She says while the convicted killer did not use a bump stock, he did use another accessory called the Mean Arms MA lock,
which allows the magazine to be easily detached with just the press of a button, and a new magazine just simply attached without having to reload individual bullets into the magazine.
Elmore Garcia says while New York already has its own ban on bump stocks, she is disappointed with the Supreme Court's decision to strike down a Trump-era national ban. She hopes Congress acts quickly to make bump stocks illegal across the country.
For example, if someone in New York was found to have possession of a bump stock or utilizing a bump stock, they wouldn't just be facing state penalties, they'd be facing federal penalties. And it would do more to keep them out of the market and out of the hands of consumers.
In Las Vegas in 2017, 60 people lost their lives. Hundreds were injured in a mass shooting involving the use of a bump stock. Elmore Garcia says the attorneys representing victims of that mass shooting and the one at Sandy Hook went after the bump stock.
Unfortunately, the court in Nevada ruled that the bump stock was covered by a gun industry protection statute called PLACA.
She says the latest Supreme Court decision doesn't make the legal battle against deadly accessories any easier.
I think it was probably the wrong decision. I mean, what's the difference between a machine gun, which allows you to release more than one bullet with a single pull of a trigger, versus a bump stock that's harnessing the energy of a single pull of a trigger and releasing more than one bullet?